Hey everybody, Andy Kvernen here with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. I wonder if anybody's like this. Maybe you overthink things sometimes. I would call myself in some situations a classic overthinker. I'm thinking about a decision and I'm thinking about all the possibilities, and I just tend to mull it over and over and start to worry about it. Or maybe I'm thinking about a conversation I had with somebody and I'm replaying it in my mind and I'm overthinking it. When really what it calls for is just to boil it down to it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty black and white. I tend to appreciate folks who can distill things down to black and white. This is what it is. And there's this apostle in the New Testament. His name is John. You might be familiar with him. There's a gospel named after him that he wrote. He also wrote the book of Revelation. He also wrote 3 what we call epistles, 3 letters to the churches. And John was a guy who didn't mince words. He was straightforward. And you might think, well, with Revelation, it's so complex. How does that work? Well, you read John's epistles and you see he's calling it out. He's calling it like it is. And there's an example of that in his 3rd letter. It's only 1 chapter, and he's dealing with some relational church kinds of things. And he says this in verse 11 of 3 John. He says, "Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. Anyone who does what is good is from God. Anyone who does what is evil has not seen God." And don't you love that? John is just saying, look, if this person does what is evil, don't trust him. Don't go with them. That's not from God. If they do what's good, and you know what good is, John is saying to his readers, you've seen it, you've seen Jesus, I've written to you about Jesus. You know what's good. If they're doing what's good, do what they do, imitate them. And in fact, the context here is John is calling out the poor behavior of a man named Diotrephes. And Diotrephes apparently was a proud guy who loved to be first. And John says, look, don't imitate Diotrephes. In fact, in verse 10 he says, "So when I come, I'm going to call attention to what Diotrephes is doing. Spreading malicious nonsense about us, not satisfied with that. He even refuses to welcome other believers. He also stops those who want to do so and puts them out of the church." In other words, John is saying, look, Diotrephes is acting evilly. He's acting poorly. Don't do what he does. That's evil. That's not from God. And then fascinatingly, right after verse 11, he says, starts talking about another guy. He says, "Demetrius is well spoken of by everyone, and even by the truth itself. We also speak well of him, and you know that our testimony is true." In other words, look, don't imitate Diotrephes. Diotrephes is doing evil, and that's not from God. Don't even give him don't overthink it. Don't give him a second glance. But look at Demetrius. Demetrius is doing good. He's representing God in the way that he carries himself and how he interacts with other people. Demetrius is from God. Follow him. Imitate him. And friends, sometimes we start to overthink and, well, is this good? Is this not good? Is this bad? Is this not bad? All of those kinds of conversations. Should I follow this person or not this person? Friends, look to what is good. Look to who is good and do that. Follow that. I leave with you, again, these words, 3 John 11. "Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good." Don't overthink it. "Anyone who does what is good is from God. Anyone who does what is evil has not seen God." Friends, let's pursue the good today. Let's pursue what God has revealed about himself in his word. You know what it is. Don't overthink it. God bless.